Hey you guys, and welcome to today's video. In today's video I'm going to be sharing a Military Monday with you guys. I know it's been a bit. I really enjoy making these, but finding the time to actually sit down and film it is the difficult part. So right now my kids are in bed. My husband is actually not feeling too well, so I came out to the kitchen or living room, dining room area, like near the front door kind of. I put these are my plants that are normally in my living room. Well, they're normally here, but I don't even know what I'm saying. Anyway, that's why the background's different. I decided to switch it up for you guys. I came out to the living room. So anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna jump into your guys' questions. I asked you guys to ask me questions over on Instagram. That's where I normally will ask you guys, like, what do you wanna know? What kind of questions do you have? What kind of story times do you have? All that good stuff. So make sure you're following me over on Instagram. I will have it linked down below and up on the screen, so that way you can find me. I share a lot of my daily life over there. So if you want to see me on the daily and not just for military wife life content, then head over there. I highly recommend it. I'm pretty much talking on my stories every single day. So the first question we have is pros, cons of meeting and making new military spouse friends. So a pro would be you're meeting new friends, you're like getting to talk to other people and venture out and, you know, learn about someone new and probably someone totally different than you, because a lot of times in the military you guys all come from tons of different walks of life. You just came from Hawaii or Germany or whatever it is. And a con would be that, and also they would have like a little bit different experience than you, so they would, have different experiences with the military. And a con would be that they move, you separate, but always keep in contact on Facebook. I always will stay up to date with my friends on Facebook that we used to live nearby and stuff like that. I don't have many of them, but the ones that I do have, I keep in contact with just via Facebook, or just have their phone number and keep up to date with them. But I love Facebook because I'm a visual person and I love to see their kids or see what they're up to and see how they're doing. So that would be a con though, is that they leave eventually. You both will go separate. Best thing for PCSing for the first time mom. I would highly recommend, if you have family, like your mom or an aunt or sister or a friend that can travel to you and help you with your child, or help you pack and just be there for moral support. That would be my #1 tip. If I didn't have my mom help us move, I'm pretty sure I had my parents for every single move. So yeah, well, when we moved to Georgia, from Colorado to Georgia, I had my dad. He flew in and he helped pack up everything, and so I was able to take care of the kids and not have to worry. I mean, I packed stuff, but he packed it with my husband. And then also my husband's friend came with him too, so that was really helpful. And then to the move here, my mom actually flew into Georgia and then drove with me and the kids here. So she helped me pack up the remnants of the house that I hadn't packed up yet, and helped with the kids. And then when we got here, she obviously helped me drive here and everything. So that was really helpful, because my husband drove the moving truck, because we usually, past couple times, we've done a ditty move, which is a do-it-yourself move. And I get so many questions asking about please share information about ditty moves, and I would love to do a video like that. I just need my husband's help for that, because he knows way more about it than I do, honestly. I'm just kind of we make a little extra money when we do it. I don't know the ins and outs of it, so I would definitely need to pull him in for a video. So let me know if you want all the information that we know about a ditty move. I think I do have a question in here about it, but I'm really not going to touch on it because I personally do not know. I don't know. We just do it, and he does all the back end stuff, and I'm just all right, cool, let's go. You give birth to your children on post. Would you recommend it? If so, yes, I did give birth to both my kids actually at the Evans Hospital in Colorado, on the military base, and I didn't have a horrible experience. I mean, I don't think that my body was ready to have Victoria yet, because they induced me at 37 weeks. I did have preeclampsia. I mean, I did, but I didn't. It was mostly just high blood pressure, only 3 times, and 3 strikes, you're out and you're considered preeclampsia. I also had protein in my urine, when they tested it 1 time, but I honestly don't know. I never had any other symptoms, no swelling, no nothing, but they were very diligent about making sure that I went to all my appointments, and I got all the pre-screening and everything, the growth like scans and everything, so they were really on top of it if I did have preeclampsia. So anyway, I think they would know better than me, but I personally just don't think my body was ready to have her yet. So it was very complicated for me once I was in the pushing stages, because I did not know what I was doing. I never went to a birthing class or anything. And so they turned off my epidural during Victoria's birth, and it was very painful. And the nurses were not very nice. And I also had a class come in and watch. And that was really fun because I was screaming the F word and I was a crazy person. But needless to say, the experience was great. The hospital was great. Also with my son, I had him at the same hospital and his experience was golden. So I would recommend it. I don't see anything wrong with it. You also get everything covered. Usually if you go somewhere else, then that's not really covered because you have to pay like copays and all that stuff. So I was always on Prime, so I always just stayed there. And if I had another baby and we lived near a military base, I would be having them on a military base. So long-winded answer, but yes, I would recommend. Anything you wish you knew before having kids? They're expensive. I mean, I feel like I knew that, but I didn't really know that they're pretty expensive. So. Do you recommend having children while your husband is still enlisted? Absolutely. This is the time when he's enlisted. Now is your chance, girl. Do it, because you get medical benefits up the yin yang. 99.9% of things are covered, or you can get a referral for them. So do it. Do it now. This is the best time. This is the best insurance you're ever going to have in your whole entire life. So do it now. Anything you have advice on having kids while your spouse is enlisted? So just know that, like, yeah, have the kids, but also know that you're gonna have to take care of them, and a lot of the time it's going to be on you and it's gonna fall on you. So I would recommend, you know, like I said, kids are expensive, so, you know, just remember that. As a new soldier, they don't make a lot of money, and if you're a stay-at-home mom, you got a budget. And a lot of the tasks as motherhood are falling on you. You normally aren't near family because you move so much, and you're normally not stationed. I mean, unless you get lucky, you're normally not stationed near family. You decide whether to stay in hometown with tight-knit family or PCS with captain boyfriend. I mean, that's really up to you. That's up to your guys' relationship. If you feel like, you know, you guys need more time to grow your relationship and everything, then do it. I mean, you can grow your relationship apart and kind of doing the long distance thing. And once you guys both feel like you're ready, maybe to get married. I feel like it can be really hard because if you have a really tight-knit family, then you want to stay obviously near your family. But also, if you feel like this relationship that you're having with this boyfriend is going to turn into an engagement or a marriage, and you want to see how you guys are gonna you know, work things out living together before you actually get engaged and married, and see if like that's even something that you guys can do, as far as like, because once you start living together, you see all the things that you're like, whoa, like you see all the clothes on the floor, you hate the way that they pour their cereal in the morning, I don't know, you just see so many things that maybe you're like, you know what, I'm gonna go. So why not test it out and see if maybe it's something that you want to pursue, if you do see yourself getting married in the near future to this person. I would definitely try it out, but as you said, you have a tight-knit family, so I'm sure they will always be open arms and waiting for you if something doesn't work out. So I think it's really just depending on your relationship and where you see the next steps in your relationship going. How to deal with overly dramatic milso friends. Find new ones. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know, like I just, like after I'd see that, I'd be like, trying to lessen my time with them maybe, or just not engage, or I don't know, I mean, just find your people, try to find your people. I mean, if that's the only person that you can find so far, and like they're pretty much good company except for the dramatic part, then just, you know, it's only gonna be a short amount of time that you guys are gonna be together. So it depends on like, what is this person being overly dramatic about? Are they like, oh, like everything, or is it just like a deployment? Or I feel like it would depend on the circumstances for me, but I honestly would try to distance myself and maybe find new friends that are more your vibe. Okay, I feel like I answered this in almost every single video, but I'm gonna answer it because I feel like in case you just watch this one random video, I want you to know. It says, did you live on or off base, which is better? So I've lived on and off base. So when we first lived in our first apartment in Colorado, we lived off the base. Then we got a house and rented there, and that was off the base, and we rented, and then we moved on to the base and we stayed there for a year, and that was on the base. And then we moved to Georgia, we lived on the base, and now we lived there for 4 years, and then we moved here and we live off of a base because there's no base nearby, because my husband is a recruiter, and with recruiting you don't really live near a base. I mean, you can, but we don't. So I don't live on the base, I live off of a base. But I think it depends on your situation, your circumstance, all that stuff. So if you have been, here's just your pro tip. If you have been married for a long time, you're established as far as like income, and established as far as spouse's rank, and established as far as like savings, then I would say go ahead and just buy a house and use the VA loan, or rent a house off the base. But that's kind of, it depends on the area, because renting off of a base you'd just be spending more money sometimes. It just depends. But you could just buy a house with a VA loan, and if you know you're gonna be there for a while, and then when you move, just sell it and move on. But if you are lower ranking, you just had a baby, and lower, like if all these are combined, you're lower ranking, you just had a baby, you're new to the military, you don't feel established with your savings account and stuff like that, highly recommend living on the military base, because they go by your BAH, so basic housing allowance, or basic allowing for housing, whatever. You guys know what I mean. So you will be paying by your rank. So that's what's really helpful, because you'll be paying by your rank, and a lot of times the electricity and the water is all included, the trash and all that is included. So that's why I say, if you're not like established as far as like rank, and you just had a baby, and you're a lower ranking, and you don't have a good savings, and you're just trying to like get started, highly recommend living on the military base. Because, and also depending on the area of where you go, because if you move somewhere like Georgia, it's super affordable there because housing is cheap and everything like that. But if you were stationed somewhere like New Jersey, housing is not cheap, and you would probably want to live on the military base. Like if we lived near a military base, we'd probably be living on it, because the rent is outrageous. So there you go. I hope that answered your question. How did the first deployment go? Are they harder with kids now? So I never had a deployment without kids, so I honestly don't know. I mean, we went through basic training, which was 4 months without kids, because I didn't have kids then, and I felt like that was like so difficult. Little did I know. I thought that was so difficult, but I had family, I was with my mom, I went to school, I did all those things, so that was really nice. But now having kids, and then my husband went on deployment in 2018 for 9 months, it was very hard. It was something to get used to, but over time you definitely get used to it, and it's definitely never easy, and it's never easy, but it definitely gets easier as it gets closer to the end, because you see a light, you're like, okay, I can do this, and you're way stronger than you think. You don't think that you're as strong as you are, and I promise you, you are very strong. Do you know how long your husband will be a recruiter / when you will PCS? So we moved here almost 8 months ago, so he has 2.5 years left. So usually with recruiting, you get assigned somewhere for 3 years, and then obviously you can extend it if you would like it, or you can maybe switch over to that MOS if that's what you want to do. But he has to do it for 3 years, so we've done it for 8 months, so we have like 2.5 years left. So in 2.5 years is when we'll be PCSing. Has your husband done a combat deployment? Mine's on a reinforcement list for 1, and I'm scared. So yeah, my husband, I think it would be considered, I'm not sure honestly, I'd have to ask him, but I think it'd be a combat deployment. He went to Afghanistan, they were training Afghan soldiers and stuff like that. So there was combat that happened, but I don't know if they considered it a combat mission. but I'm pretty sure he didn't go somewhere like Kuwait or anything. Like he went into Afghanistan. So, and I know it's really hard, but the only reason that your husband would be called in is if they needed reinforcements. So fingers crossed, pray for you that doesn't happen, but everything will be okay. Think positive. I know it's so hard. Has your husband thought about getting out, and what would he do for an occupation if he did decide to get out? So he goes back and forth all the time. Like, you know, if you have a military spouse, you know that they come home and are like, ugh, I hate my job, I don't think I want to do this anymore, or I do want to do it, or I don't want to do it. It changes literally every single day. But if he was out, I think he said that he would do like some sort of FBI, I have no idea, firefighter, I don't know. I honestly don't know. How long do you have to wait until you can get housing? So normally as soon as you get orders, you will just call up the base and let them know like, hey, I have orders, as the wife or whatever, or whoever can call and say, I have orders to your location and I'm looking to live on the military base. And then they will either add you to the list and let you like put down your arriving date. You can also go online and look up their options that they have for your rank, or whoever's enlisted's rank, and you can see like what kind of house you could potentially get. So that way when you're on the phone with them, you can let them know, this is a house that I'm looking into. I see that I qualify because of the rank and everything. And then they'll have you like fax in stuff like your orders and all your paperwork and stuff like that. So that way when you get there, you have keys in your hand and you can just like move right in. But sometimes they do have a waiting list, so I definitely would call immediately. How often does the military get paid, and is it different for each person? Every military person gets paid on the 1st and the 15th. Sometimes your bank account will, like, you'll get money a couple days before if there's a holiday, or depending, but usually it's the 1st and the 15th of every single month for every single person in the military. Best and worst thing about being a military spouse, and I would say the best thing is getting to move around and see different places that I probably never would have moved to. And then the worst would be just having to be away from my husband, obviously, and him not get to like see certain little moments that he misses out on. So that would be a not so great thing. Moving yourself versus a ditty move. About to do my first move in August and I'm lost. So it really just depends on you. If you want the military to move your stuff, you could be waiting on your stuff for a little bit, but you might not be. It really just depends. Depends how far the move is, for sure. It depends on if you feel like you're physically fit enough to be able to move the stuff in and out of the truck if you want to do your own move. If you feel like you'll make more money doing a ditty move, but it'll be less stress as far as having to pack your own boxes, having to load your own boxes, have to drive your own boxes. It'd be less stress in that way. But then on the other side, moving yourself, you'll make money. You know your stuff is safe because you're moving it, and whatever breaks is on you, or anything like whatever. You won't get anything stolen because you'll be moving it, and it'll get there when you want it to get there. So I feel like it just depends on your situation, but we've done a ditty move for every move that we've done, and I highly recommend, except for when we first moved to our first duty station, and like I said, we waited for our stuff for 3 months, but I don't know what was up with that, if we were doing something wrong or what happened, but that was just our experience. Okay, and then the last question is, I had to go ask my husband because I was a little confused about the question. I thought I knew the answer, but I was a little confused. So it says, I heard that the 3rd child doesn't count. Is that true in the military? And I think that you have things confused. You think that you get paid per dependent or per child, and you don't get paid per child. So for every kid you have, you don't get an additional $1,000 onto your husband's paycheck, or $500. Like, it doesn't work like that. You don't get paid per dependent. He gets his paycheck, and if you want to have 1 million kids, that's on you if you feel like you can afford it. Obviously it counts for like insurance, and like you'll always get insurance for all the kids that you have and like all that stuff. But as far as like getting paid extra, you don't get paid extra for any of the kids. You don't get paid extra. So Anyway, I hope that answered your question, but I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like it, subscribe, share it, and help me, you know, spread the word and give some advice to any military spouses, friends, family, Facebook pages, anything that you think I'd be able to help them on. If you want to join in on any of these Q&As, then please follow me over on Instagram, and next time I put up a little box saying ask me anything military Monday questions, then you can put them in the box and ask away. You can also always leave any questions down below in the comments and I can answer them. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.